back to Phostine Love TV, your favorite channel where you are consistently updated with the latest gems that can aid you in your level up journey. In today's episode, we are going to be dissecting the story of the woman with the blood issue. My reference scripture for today, Matthew 9:20-22. We will analyze the story of the woman with the blood issue. We already know that when Jesus was on his way to perform a miracle of raising someone's dead daughter, there was an encounter with this very woman with the blood issue. We realize, according to the Bible, it is stated that the woman had this hemorrhage for a good 12 years. 12 years is very significant in the Bible. It symbolizes perfection and authority. So we can say perhaps it was time for this woman to be delivered from a very horrible condition, and it was a new dawn for this woman. It was her time for perfection. And indeed, Jesus granted this woman a new dawn, and he perfected her worst condition to something that she perhaps never thought it could have been. Her condition must have been terribly bad, considering that she had the hemorrhage for 12 consistent years. Translation from the Good News: the woman had suffered from severe bleeding for 12 years. The NIV puts it this way: the woman had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. Clearly, her condition was terribly awful. Her faith was exceptionally mind-blowing. She had fears, but she still took the step of faith. Many other times, even in our real lives, we tend to have fears like, if I start this business, will it work out? If I start going for therapy, will it eventually benefit me? So I encourage you, just like the woman with the blood issue, amidst fears, amidst chaos, just take the step of faith. She said to herself, and this is according to New King James Version, "If only I may touch his garments, I shall be made well." So that clearly shows that this woman had an impeccable faith. So upon touching the garment of Jesus, Jesus immediately noticed her and said, "Courage, my daughter, your faith has made you well." This is in accordance to the Good News translation. So Jesus noticed that this woman had some fears, but she was insistent that the moment she would touch his cloak or his garment, just lightly, she would be made whole. She would be completely healed. And Jesus noticed it. And that is why she told her to have courage, because her troubles had eventually come to an end. Her turmoil, her cry had eventually come to an end. So Jesus said, "Courage, my daughter, your faith has made you well." He had noticed that she had fears, but she did not allow her fears to get the better of her. Regardless of her fears, she took the step of faith. The biggest lesson I derived from this episode: take a step of faith even if the odds are against you. Take a step of faith amidst chaos and fears. The second biggest lesson that I personally derived from this story: this was a season of momentous change in the woman with the blood issue's life because of the faith that she had. Her life took a momentous change simply because of the faith that she had. In conclusion, her focus was not on how terrible and awful her bleeding had been in the previous years. Her focus was rather on Jesus, the healer, and Jesus being able to heal her at the very light touch of his cloak. I encourage you to focus on what is possible, focus on what is on the best results and not on the awful things that are likely to occur. Focus on the good and not the bad. And this is one of the ways which what the world always call manifest good results, or a way of having what you aspire come to fruition. The woman with the blood issue focused on Jesus the healer. She said to herself, if only I can touch his garment, I will be made well. She did not say, oh, I've been having this terrible blood issue for so many years. This hemorrhage doesn't have solution. It's been there for 12 years. I don't think it can find a solution. In fact, I'm just touching his cloak, but I don't think there's going to be a solution to it. She did not state that. She stated the positive, and she got amazing results. So this is an encouragement to myself and to you as well, that whatever is bleeding in your life, it doesn't have to be blood like the woman with the blood issue. Whatever situation is bleeding in your life, be it finances, be it maritally, be it even your aspiration to get married, and maybe you feel like there is some delay maybe in getting a job, you're aspiring to get a job and there's a lot of delay. Whatever kind of bleeding it is, maybe you've been battling a certain kind of illness for a very long time. So I encourage you, regardless of whatever kind of situation you are in, whatever it is that you are bleeding, I encourage you to focus on the positive and to focus on Jesus, who is able to make anything all, and who is able to turn anything bad to good, and who is able to make everything evil turn around for our good. Start focusing on Jesus and not your troubles. And also take the courage of faith. Take the step of faith, just like the woman with the blood issue. I can imagine during those days, it was actually an abomination for you to be on your... During those days, it was an abomination for you to be during your menstrual cycle and gathering around in the company of others. So this woman was very courageous, and this is something that we can depict from her. We need to take a risk of faith. We need to be courageous and know that no matter how bad things are, if we are desperately in need of help, and if we desperately need Jesus and we desperately seek him, he will eventually come through. So take that risk of faith. Have an extreme faith in Jesus, no matter how awful your situation is. And it doesn't matter in which area you're bleeding in. Like, it doesn't have to be like similar to the woman with the blood issue. You could be bleeding in any other way, financially, maritally, maybe your career-wise, or in any other way. So I encourage you to have faith in Jesus, because he's able to turn around our situations, no matter how terribly awful they are. So that is it for this episode. I thought I should encourage 1 or 2 people, or even more, with this Matthew 9:20-22 verse. I encourage you to read that verse on your own and pray about it and reflect on it, and I'm sure you will get deep revelation as well, just like I did by reading that scripture. You have been watching Phostine Love TV, and I am Phostine Love. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Remember, I am always rooting for you. In the meantime, be blessed and stay in tune for my next episode. Bye.